Okay, we're gonna make bread and butter pickles today because cheeseburgers are awesome and also are ploughman's platters. But I won't waffle too much, we're gonna get the brine on really quickly because that's the longest thing. So, into the pot, we're gonna put half a litre of white wine vinegar. This is organic and got mother bits in it, so that's good. Do that if you can. Excellent. Into that 1 cup of water, so that's half a litre of white wine vinegar, 1 cup of water. And then into that we're going to put about 100 grams of sugar. That's also got about a teaspoon of turmeric in it. That all goes in there. And then we put that on the boil. Excellent. Now we have time. Right. Bread and butter pickles are really good. So obviously cheeseburgers, they go on cheeseburgers, that's a good thing. But your ploughman's platters are an amazing accessory to it. So use them for whatever, favourite ham, everything else you want to do. So to do this, and we are going to cheat because these need to sit for at least an hour in salt, possibly a little bit longer if you can. I've got about 10 kilos under the table that we've done a bit earlier, so they've sat for about 6 hours in salt just to get the liquids out of the cucumbers. But for the sake and the magic of television, we're going to do it this way. So, mandolin is the easiest way to do this. If you've got a mandolin, then you're well and truly ahead. So essentially, we're just carving them down to nice neat little slices. I get to about there on the mandolin, then I salvage my fingers, put the lid on, and then finish the rest off. Like so. Then just don't die. Mandolins are horrible. So what you're looking for is really sort of coin size bits of cucumber. So imagine that nice and solid, because what you're going to do is soak them in salt, and that's going to take the liquid out of it, which means they'll sort of be about half the size of that by the time you pickle them down. So they go in there. If you don't have a mandolin, that's okay. You can also chop them. So just nice and neat, you want to run your slices down fairly consistently with your size. If you're intelligent with your knife, you'll do spider grip and you won't try and end your life by losing your fingers, which is also easy to do on a mandolin. Right. So all of that goes into a cucumber pile, which is here. By the way, if you like my board, it's pretty funky. That's end grain walnut. That's from my good friend Chris, who is on Instagram as Opus Lab. Legit stuff. So this is all custom made, handmade. Does it at his workshop. Really, really cool stuff. If you're looking for something a bit unique, check him out. Really cool. Kudos to Chris. There's your call out, bro. Unsolicited and unpaid for advertising because I like you. Into your cucumber, you want to put an onion. Bella and I look like we are crying because of isolation, but we're just teared up because we just put about 8 enormous onions into 10 kilos of cucumbers, and now we're dying. So I'm going to use these ones. These are organic onions from the farm, as are the cucumbers actually. So that's from Angelica Organic Farm. They're in Dalesford. They do deliveries. So basically, once you sign up under a CSA, you front the cash, and you've invested in the farm. So it's community supported agriculture. That basically means that you get a share of whatever the farm produces. So you're invested for good or for worse. If they have bad weather, you just got to deal with that. But what I love about that is it helps you really connect with the produce. So you own it. That's the way the farm pitches it to you. You have a vested interest in it. They're really committed. They send you weekly emails. Just really, really cool. Derry and Tim at Angelica Organic are really, really nice to deal with. So if you're in Melbourne, I would highly suggest them as your choice of CSA. If you're elsewhere, just Google it. I think there's a site on Instagram, if you check out CSAs, that will give you an idea of who's doing it, which is super important. And I've jammed my onion in the mandolin, so we're going to pull it out, push it through, rather than using a finger. Again, I value it. So, again, your onions have been strung down nice and thin. So we pop all them out, and that's what we're looking for, is some nice sort of cut down cucumbers and onion strings. Into all of that, you just need to heavily salt them. So that's about 2 tablespoons, tablespoon and a half worth of salt. Rub it all over them so that they are all nice and salty. So you'll see that they're covered in salty granule bits, which is really cool. So that's what you want. One way to do it is what I've done here. So that's putting it in a colander or a strainer over a pot and letting it sit for a couple of hours. That way then, get that off my black shirt. That way then all the liquids will drip through into the pot, and eventually you'll hopefully have a pot with some water in it. Then press them down so you get all the liquid out as much as you can. Then you'll have your finished product. So I'll put this off to the side for now. And we'll have a look at what we've got. So here is one prepared earlier. So as you can see, they've become really loosey-goosey, and they've sort of lost a lot of their liquid. They've been drained, which is important. That means that they're ready to go. So our brine, as you can see, is bubbling away really nicely, which is good. That means that's all mixed down and dissolved. So our brine is good to go. So once you've got all of this ready, into that goes a bunch of seeds. So that's coriander, onion seeds, chili flakes, dill seeds, and fennel seeds. You can mix up whatever you want. You might want to put some mustard seeds in there as well. You might want to take some things out if you don't like the flavors. But essentially you just want a nice seedy mix, and that would go all over it. I've already pre-seeded that, so I won't drench it anymore. But that's an essential part. After you've salted and drained them, in go the seeds, and then you mix it all through. Get a nice big bowl so you can sort of get right into it. The next thing you want to do is get a nice bit of fresh dill and just chop that down nice and neat. Use your kitchen table so it rattles really nicely for camera, because that's important. So in goes our dill into the mix, and we'll mix that around in a second. So that is really the essentials to making bread and butter pickles. Brine is nice and hot. The pickles have salted and lost their moisture as much as you can get out of them. And then you've also sterilised your jars well and truly beforehand. So these have gone through the dishwasher on a hot setting. They've then had boiling water in them, gone in the oven to dry, and then we've lidded them back up once they're all dry, so that's a nice sterile and safe environment, which is exactly what you want when you're making these, because you want them to be shelf stable. You have the option after you've done this to heat treat them, which is essentially getting a big pot, boiling water, wrapping some tea towels around them, putting them in that for about 15 minutes. That will make them entirely shelf stable. It's up to you. Do your research on that. It's important that you know what you're doing with your own pickles and ferments. If you're not sure, if you're worried at all, just put them in the fridge. The fridge is your lifesaver. If you get that below 3 degrees, then things don't grow. It kind of slows the pickling process, but if you're worried at all, just better err on the side of caution. We've put a bit of time into learning how to ferment and pickle things, so a little bit more confident on that front. I'm just going to grab a stainless steel jug. Right, so the best way to do this, get your nice sterile jar with nice clean hands that you've already done, which I have as well. You want to get a couple of peppercorns if you can. Just drop them in the bottom of the jar, as many as you want. Now, from this end here, get the pickles in as well as you can. They're looking nice and pretty. Good for your Instagram, put it on portrait mode, everyone's happy. At that stage there, get a, what do you call these, pickle press? I don't know. Look out for Mrs. Shakutri, she's got all the nice words. Or check out my mate Zenon. Zenon made this for me. It's really cool. Basically it's a rolling pin and you cut the other end off. So that's the thing. That gives you the ability to press. You don't want to press too hard, but you do want to make sure that everything has gone down into the jar as much as you can. And we are just topping it back up with all of our mix. A little bit of a light press again. A good guide is to sit just below the lid of the glass. That way you can see what's happening in there. Everything's happy. So, you can ladle this in if you want. I find the best thing is your coffee jug. Get a stainless steel jug, and that way you can just really easily pour it in. You've got control. The jug's heat proof, so it won't get cranky with you. To make it shelf stable, what I'm happy with, get that boiling. So the brine is boiling hot, and then it goes in the jar as quickly as you can. And you can see I've got a butane burner here. Because we're doing lots of them later, like I said, 10 kilos, what we'll do is keep that boiling while we're going, so it doesn't lose heat. A bit like when you make passata, if you've got Italian friends or if you're Italian, you'll make passata, you'll put it in boiling hot and then lid it, and that way it becomes shelf stable. You're killing off any potential harmful bacteria. But again, please do your research on that. That's up to you to work out what you're happy with and what is safe. Right, so what I did there was pour everything in and then got a chopstick and just sort of push it in to make sure there's no air bubbles floating around. While that's still nice and hot, lid it up really well. Don't burn your hands. Give it a tip upside down just to get all the swirly bits in there. Then tip it back this way. And what we should have in a little while is the nice sound of a pop. That's it. I'm going to do the rest on my own because I've held up enough of your time. But that is essentially bread and butter pickles. So really, really easy. Just get your brine on nice and early so that that's ready. Get your jars sterile. That's the first thing to do. Then mandolin everything down. Let it sit, soak it. Essentially what you're looking for is over time, they'll start to lose a bit of colour and you'll get this. And that is a ready to go bread and butter pickle. About a month they'll sit, then they're ready to use. Thanks. If you've got any questions, DM me. Comment below. Hope you like it. Otherwise, enjoy your cheeseburgers and your ploughman platters. Bye.